Merry Christmas and happy holidays on this Thursday. Taking a look at earlier today, this is I-50 at Echo Summit, where it is looking like a winter wonderland. You can barely make out the roadway with just how much snow. The higher elevation, the Sierra Nevadas, is seeing. It's going to continue for the next few days, so definitely want to plan accordingly. Now, here are your weather headlines as we take a look on this weather impact alert day. That alert continues now until Friday. We're going to expect a continuation of those very windy, very wet conditions, with those snow levels lowering to about the 5,000-foot elevation mark. Of course, the big thing we've been emphasizing is to give yourself that extra travel time. As you just saw in that camera, you should prepare for delays if you're going to the higher elevations, but even the rain can make for some pretty difficult travel conditions, and we certainly saw that earlier today with some of the heavy rain in the valley. Of course, with that, we're also tracking multiple weather alerts still in effect on this Thursday. Starting with this winter storm warning for the higher elevations, we're going to see a continuation of that heavy snow, those strong winds rather, and it will make for some pretty treacherous conditions, especially if you're going up I-80, I-50. Make sure to check those road conditions. We're already seeing many chain controls in effect and will more than likely stay in effect, especially as several feet of extra snow are expected. The other thing that we're tracking are these flood alerts. This flood watch for much of the valley in effect from now until 4 p.m. on Friday. We're expecting some localized flooding, some possible street flooding, and the phrase "turn around, don't drown" is an important reminder of what to do. If you do see a flooded roadway, you can never tell just how deep it is, and you don't want to risk yourself or put yourself in a dangerous situation. So definitely want to keep that in mind. And finally, the big one that we've been seeing many impacts from is this high wind warning. So similar to that last alert, we're seeing that impacting much of the valley. We're seeing some pretty strong wind gusts leading to plenty of debris in the roadway, as well as many power outages across the region. So a lot that we are tracking in terms of the impacts of the weather. Now, of course, this isn't going to last for too much longer, but let me break down just what the timing looks like. This is 6 p.m. on Thursday. You can see we're going to continue to see a pretty heavy band of rain across much of the valley. A lot of yellow, a lot of orange, indicating moderate to heavy rainfall. Of course, just to the east, up in the Sierra Nevadas, we're going to continue to see some pretty heavy snow as well. Now, once we fast forward here into Friday, we're going to see a continuation of that rain in the overnight hours. However, that's going to break up a little bit once we get into Friday morning, and then by Friday evening, we're going to see some lingering showers and quite a bit of snow still for the higher elevations. But then once we get to the weekend, the good news here is things will be looking a lot clearer, a lot drier, which is certainly some good news if you do have some holiday weekend plans. Of course, again, we've been talking about the winds, and those winds are going to continue as well. Take a look at these winds. This is lunchtime Thursday. We're going to see some pretty strong winds, 40-mile-per-hour winds in Placerville, 30 down in Stockton, and that's going to continue into the early evening hours. Now, once we get into the late evening hours, you can see those winds going to remain pretty consistent, but still pretty strong. And once we get into Friday, we're going to keep seeing those winds, and it's going to continue to be pretty noticeable. Hourly weather showing we're going to see a good amount of rain across much of the area, temperatures in the low to mid 50s. As for our rainfall total, several inches of rain, especially for the higher elevation, the foothills. It's going to be the same story as well for the snowfall. However, it's going to be more feet of snow, so those ski resorts certainly going to get quite a blanket of fresh snow as we make our way through the next few days. Quick check of your temperatures. You can see we're looking at some high 40s, low 50s for the highs up in the foothills. Out to the west, we're looking at some high 50s, mid 50s for the highs there, and similar conditions in the valley with highs in the mid to upper 50s. Taking a look at our regional forecasts. Again, Thursday, Friday going to be our most active days with some snow and then rain for the lower elevations. And then taking a look at our forecast, that weather impact alert going until Friday. Things looking much drier once we get into the weekend. New Year's Eve looking dry, but to start off 2026, we could potentially see some more wet weather.